Hey guys, welcome to the Livewell, brought to you by Digital Sportsman, where we get together with our community and talk fishing. The show's fixing to start, we're getting everything ready. But in the meantime, we want to tell you about our fine partners that not only make this show possible, but are companies that we absolutely love and stand behind. Groove Fishing, changing the norm of tackle storage. Sonar Pros, specializing in high-end installations across all electronic brands. Go where the pros go. Lipsticker Fishing, specializing in putting clients on giant Lake Lanier bass. Bill Payne's Guide Service, fish with a legend on Lake Allatoona, seasonal smallmouth trips, or even get your sonar dialed in. Brooks Anderson Fishing, guide trips and educating today's anglers on Lake Lanier. Big League Charters, fish with a pro on Tellico, Fort Loudon, Watts Bar, and Chickamauga. Money Saver Lure Retriever, designed to break your lure free from almost any snag. Fishers of Hope, benefit fishing tournaments to help people in need. Serve IT, industry-leading IT services for your business. Change the way you manage IT. Turner Tire, Jasper, Georgia's most trusted family-owned tire center. Atlanta Safe House, the trusted source for safes and gun safes in Tennessee, Georgia, Kentucky, and Alabama. And of course, Digital Sportsman, a new way to discover and book unforgettable outdoor experiences with local trusted guides. Go to fngo.com to get direct links to all our fine partners. Get ready, and let's talk fishing. All right, guys, we're live. Hey, welcome to the Livewell this Tuesday, and I appreciate you guys joining us. We got an absolutely fantastic guest for you tonight. Yes, Jeremiah, we have the Bassmaster champ here. Easton Fothergill's here. And, of course, Cletus and Alex are going to be joining us here in a second. While I've got you guys and I got your attention, I want to go ahead and take care of the business so that once we get to talking to everybody, with Easton and all you guys in your comments, we ain't got to stop. So let's go ahead. Toys for Tots. Guys, get signed up now. December 6th out of Laurel Park. Guaranteed $5,000 first place prize. $80 per team plus one unwrapped toy. Again, to help the Hall County and Pickens County Toys for Tots program. You can pre-register now. Pre-registration is going to run through the end of the month. You also can do it the morning of, for sure, but you're going to blast off in the order of which you signed up. So if you want to get there and get on out, you want one of them first flights, contact me. Let's get you signed up. If you drive a Phoenix and you win, there's some contingency money there. We're going to have raffles, everything. It's going to be a great time for all of us, our Fish North Georgia community, to get together. And I want you guys to come and enjoy it. It was a really good event last year. Very positive for everything. We're going to make some kids smile for Christmas. That's the whole entire point of this. But we might do some side bets and stuff like that. So you never know. But go ahead and get signed up. It's going to be a great time. Now, there's our business. Now I'm going to bring the crew on back in here. There's Cletus right there in his little, I don't even know what you call that room back there with the little red light.
It's the old office. We got all kinds of different lights and turtle boxes because we were jamming earlier, and bluegill costume from Halloween. We got it all.
Yeah, it's very, very sexy right there. And then we got old Alex right there. What's going on, Alex? All right, and now, without further ado, we've got the man himself right there. Easton, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. Now, I got to make a comment first. I didn't realize you hung out with Clint as much as, as you do. And we might have to question your taste in friends.
No, Clint's one of my favorites.
You think so? He's not a bad guy.
He's lying. He has to say that.
He's not too shabby.
Well, he was telling me about the redfish tournament you guys just came from this past weekend.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I heard a little bit of tough luck there too.
A little bit of that, but it was a great experience overall.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Now, Clint, I told you, we see everybody in the comment sections. We'll be watching for your questions. Guys, listen, this kid knows his stuff, so let's pick his brain too. We'll talk about all the stuff he gets to experience and everything, but let's pick his brain. So if you want to figure out how to catch more bass, throw your questions out there, and we'll see if we can squeeze the juice out of him tonight. But other than that, Clint, I'm going to let you go, take off since you two are buddies, and we'll get it started.
Yeah, we are buddies, as he calls it. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on. We're super excited to have you on and talk about not just the Classic, the Redfish Cup, things like that, but I want to dive into where this whole thing started. You've been we're working on a little project with Yamaha that'll be coming out soon, and I tasked you with, hey, can you send me a couple pictures of you fishing when you're a kid? And I got 35 photos, and I was like, heck yeah, he gets the mission. but about 32 of them are him holding a trophy. And he has just been about it his whole life. And so like, I'm really fired up to like, talk about like, what was it like not only growing up in fishing, but growing up with the competition? Like, do you think having all those years of competition, being competitive, just kind of built that competitive drive? Or like, tell me about growing up in Minnesota. How does a kid from Minnesota end up winning the Bassmaster Classic?
Yeah, I mean, my dad's been a diehard tournament angler since I came around, or way before I came around. My dad was, fishing all kinds of tournaments, and then, I was just kind of born into it. Every year as I got older and older, we fished more and more tournaments together. And by the time I was in high school, we started the high school fishing team, me and him, and then, we were traveling all over the state doing the high school stuff. And then, yeah, eventually decided I want to fish in college. So I applied to a bunch of different schools, and I really didn't get recruited being from Minnesota. You basically got to be at least you got to be from like Alabama, the southern places to get recruited more. So I did all the reaching out to all the schools. I built up a resume of all my finishes that I had accumulated through all of high school and even before that, and just basically submitted that to a bunch of different college fishing coaches. And a couple of them hit me up and said, we want you to come tour and that sort of thing. So that's kind of how that went around. Ended up landing on Montevallo. And then when I started traveling all around the country on the Montevallo team, that's when I really realized, like, I want to pursue this full time. Like, we want to make this happen. So that's when I really started kind of working towards it with making the Elite Series in mind. So.
Yeah. What was it like moving? Like, you're going a long ways to go to Alabama. Like, your fishing is completely different. Conditions are completely different. Like, you're picking up at 18 years old. Like, what do you think gave you what you needed to be able to move there and start fishing there and enjoying it? Like, did you, as soon as you toured campus, were you fired up about it? Or was it like you're going there for fishing? Or like, what was your like checkbox going into fishing at Montevallo?
Yeah, so I went there and toured, saw the boat shed and all that, talked to the coach, and everything was like, I got to go here. After I saw, like, everything was just perfect. And actually, my tournament partner from high school, Nick Dumke, he was still at home in Minnesota. He didn't even get to tour. He just took my word for it and said, "All right, I'm coming." So that was kind of crazy how that worked out. But yeah, I basically went back to Minnesota saying we got to go, and yeah, we teamed up and went to school together. But yeah, I mean, our first year actually traveling around, great experience, but we got our teeth kicked in more often than not. I mean, it was a really steep learning curve. But yeah, it just every year that went by, we slowly, more and more, we got just more confidence. And, we went back to a bunch of the same fisheries year after year. I used Dardanelle as an example. When I went there my freshman year, we did all the tournament results, did all that. We read, like, got to throw swim jigs, square bills. Like, this is what you have to do here. So that's what we tried to do. It did not work. We got like second to last. We weighed one fish throughout the tournament. And that was when the light bulb went off, kind of was that tournament. I was just like, holy cow, like we did terrible. So going back to the next year, our sophomore year, I was like, all right, we're going to do it our way, how I like to fish. So I fired up the side scan, found all kinds of offshore structure, and we finished top 10, I think, like 8th place. We had a really good event out of a 250 boat field. And that was all, drop shots, Nikos, finesse fishing on, stumps, brush piles, house foundations, just all kinds of stuff I found offshore. And that's kind of when the light bulb went off, like, hey, you can do this your way. You don't have to do it everyone else's way. And from then on, it was just kind of up and up and up from there.
He picked a hell of a school to go to. What I'm saying? Like he didn't just end up at, Pojo Community College somewhere off. I mean, Montevallo is like the school or one of these schools. So, I think that's pretty awesome. I got a couple quick questions in there and we'll continue on your thing. And I don't know if you've ever watched the show, Easton, but like, the guys are going to throw the questions out, and we want to make sure we get you to answer them. Have you ever fished Lake Lanier?
2 times, I think.
What'd you think?
Not enough is the answer.
Well, what did you think about our lake?
Oh, it's awesome. Hartwell, I've always said, is my favorite lake, and I'd call it Hartwell on steroids. So I need to go back.
There you go. All right. Tyler Shelnut has a question. Now, he is helping to start a bass team at Kennesaw State. And since you just mentioned your college fishing, he wanted to know, first of all, now he does know that you fished in college. He wants to know how you went about getting sponsors for your team because he's trying to do that right now.
So the way Montevallo works, the coach, William Crawford, he does a bunch of fundraising for the team, but also every student, it may have changed now, but when I was there, every student that's on the team has to raise $1,500 in sponsorship dollars in order to fish on the team that year. So that's kind of how we did a bunch of our fundraising. We had to go out and fundraise $1,500 from wherever we could, and bring the check to the school. And if we didn't, that was $1,500 that we had to pay our way for travel wise. They didn't pay for our travel until we paid the $1,500.
Did you have like a list of companies from like the past that had sponsored some kids there, or did you just basically have to go cold call?
Well, I have a cousin who owns a metal fabrication business, and that was the person I reached out to, and he was all for it. So it kind of worked out for me. But there's a bunch of different guys who, they just cold call all kinds of different people, and they eventually come up with it.
Yeah, so there you go, Tyler. So you just got to get out there and work the phones, go meet people, go talk to people, tell them what you're trying to do, and make it happen. Just don't take no for an answer. Just go
what's a good way if you were going to cold call a new sponsor, Easton, like in your what's a good way to go about that? Like, I feel like it gets muddy a lot. Like people are just like have their hand out, like I'll put your sticker on my boat and you need to pay me. Like what's the right way to do that? Like you've come in, you've gotten some really good, strong sponsorships, really good people. I've noticed like the companies you're surrounding yourself with have very good people involved with each one. And I see that like you're making these long relationships with these sponsors that you've obtained. Like what's a good way for these kids to go in and present themselves well to build those long lasting relationships instead of just a quick transactional sponsorship?
Yeah, I mean, if at all possible, I would do the actual meeting in person if you can, rather than completely over the phone. I think that would go over way better than just doing it strictly over the phone. But if you do have to do it over the phone, you always gotta. I mean, you're selling yourself. You gotta let them know what you can do for them, and then you can ask what you want for exchange. So it's what you can do for them first, and not what they can do for you. So you just gotta sell yourself. Let them know all your deliverables that you have, and just basically how you can get their name out there, because that's what they're looking for. So it's all about selling yourself and not just asking them, hey, I need this much.
Yeah, very smart answer right there. Now, Alex, Ken wants to know if you're cold, or is that
I am cold.
Are you cold? Okay, he didn't know if you were just cold or that was a sponsor.
It is.
You know, yeah. We kind of figured as much right there. You talked about while you were in college. Now, I don't know how many people understand of the situation that you had, of course, with the emergency brain surgery and everything. That happened when you were what, freshman, sophomore? What about?
I was a junior in college.
Junior. It was after your sophomore. I don't want to harp on that too long, but tell everybody kind of what, how that happened and how it kind of changed maybe your perspective. Like, life can be short. You just dealt with this situation. Hey, I'm going through it, and now I'm going to go kick some ass.
Yeah, so I guess going back well before that, our goal, all of college fishing, me and Nick, was we wanted to win Bassmaster Team of the Year. That was the one goal that we wanted to accomplish before we graduated. And our junior year, we did that, and what that does for you is it gets you to the Classic bracket, which is the tournament that gives one college angler each year a chance to, make a run at the professional deal. And yeah, like I said, the junior year, me and Nick were able to do that, and we were fishing the national championship for Bassmaster on Pickwick. And during practice, just started having crazy headaches. Ended up passing out in the boat. Just some of the worst pain by far I've ever had, and ended up fishing through it. Just took tons of ibuprofen, and we got through it. And yeah, after the tournament, we went home, and I moved into school here because it was in August. We were just getting ready for a new semester, and got all moved in, and I just went downhill from there. Wasn't leaving bed. The day before I went to the hospital, I was in bed for like 30 hours. And, my roommates, my parents, they all know that that's very unlike me. I'm up and at it, and I'm always doing something. So that's when they knew something was wrong. So yeah, basically made me go into the emergency room and get checked out. And that's when I did a CT scan, saw something was in my brain, rushed me by ambulance to UAB. And there they did an MRI, found it was an abscess, and directly after that I was in brain surgery. And yeah, let's see, after that, I spent a week in the hospital recuperating. By now, my parents they drove from Minnesota to Alabama, and everyone's with me there in the hospital room. And then we decided to move home to Minnesota for 2 weeks to heal up and that sort of thing. Yeah, and then with all this, the classic bracket was 3 weeks away, so I was like doing everything I could to be ready in time for that. And yeah, somehow, some way, I healed up just in time to fish the tournament, and somehow, won it. So it's still crazy, but yeah, that's kind of how it went down.
That's a hell of a story.
It is.
It really is a hell of a story. And I was reading somewhere today too, like when you were in the bed healing and all that, you were doing film study or Google Earth or something. You were still, while you were healing up, you're looking for locations and kind of making your plan and everything. So like the thought of not fishing that probably never even crossed your mind, or it might have a little bit, but you're like, if it's all possible, I'm there.
Yeah, when I was in the hospital bed in Birmingham, like I told my parents, like I will be fishing that tournament. Like I don't care what it takes. I was telling them, like, we'll take this IV stand that's connected to me and we'll wheel that onto the boat. Like I'm fishing. So yeah, I wasn't going to take no for an answer just because I knew what that tournament could do for me.
Yeah.
I was doing Google Earth study and everything I could to try to be ready for it if I could make it. So.
Did you have any? Did they give you any restrictions going into that tournament? Where they're like, "Hey, you need to sit down," or like, did they give you the doctor say like, "Hey, you probably shouldn't fish the tournament," or how did that
go? So I had the doctor's biggest concern was I had a PICC line. What a PICC line is, it's an IV that goes into your arm, and that's how I did the antibiotics. You just put it through that with a syringe. They were just concerned about lake water getting in that, and that that where that goes in getting infected. So as long as I kept that clean, the doctors were cool with me fishing. So, and that was Bassmaster's biggest thing, is they needed me to be cleared by the doctors in order to fish. So that's what I needed to make happen.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah. It's very awesome.
I'd just electrical tape that thing shut and be like, all right, let's rock and roll.
Just the fact that I'm going to fish, dude, it's going to happen. So, but I also think, and I might be a little on the out and out here, but I think your mental attitude, if you're positive about something, or you're focused, like I am going to do that, somehow, some way it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you'd have laid in the bed and you were kind of like, woe is me and all that, you probably wouldn't have fished that tournament.
Yeah, probably not.
Or won that tournament if you did fish it. You know, like having that mental headspace with all that stuff going on has to be, I mean, that's pretty incredible to be able to stay locked in for something like that. And then so you come from this and you're able to win that tournament. Then what happens?
I knew I'd made the Classic, which was obviously a huge deal. And I was just so excited. I got to fish the Open on my home lake, Leech Lake. That was the two things going through my mind. So little did I know the Open season I would eventually have, I would have never thought that would have happened. So, but the two things I could think of was I was so excited for the Classic and also Leech Lake.
It's crazy. So basically, 2023 Bassmaster College Classic winner, you and your partner, right? That's the team. Or was that what did Akins win last year?
That was the same tournament, just a year after me.
Okay, all right. So you did that. Then 2024, you were Bassmaster EQ's Angler of the Year, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then 2025, you're Bassmaster Classic champ. So you've had a hell of a couple of years.
Yeah.
If we just, I mean, let's just call it what it is. I mean, you're in the flow. I mean, he's doing it all right. We're going to get to some of these questions, but one. And I want to know this because I watched the weigh-in of the Classic, and just there was a little bit of you and McKinney, right? Didn't McKinney finish second? I want to make sure I got the right one, but it was like the weights were pretty close, and you came in and weighed last, and basically just knocked Trey off that seat a little bit, and then just your face, dude. I remember your face specifically when they said you are the winner, and Fred Ashcraft wants to know, what is it actually like winning the Bassmaster Classic?
I guess for me, it was a super, how do I describe it? It was like a peaceful feeling almost. It was really weird. Like it was just shock, and also just like, it's so weird to describe. It was peaceful is the best way to put it. Just shock and just like peacefulness, like holy cow, like this just happened kind of deal. It was just, I was shocked.
It was
your
great.
adrenaline's so high, so high, so high, and then it's like almost like a crash of peace and silence, almost, and all the noise of the confetti and all that stuff. Like you were probably just like at peace.
Yeah, I hardly even remember all that. I kind of blacked out, to be honest.
Fair enough.
He should have done something like Rocky, though. You're like, Adrian, I did it. You know, one of those screaming kind of things and all that would have been great. But we'll take the way you did it. Listen, I remember watching it, and I was like, and I had not talked to you, never met you. Actually, we've never met before tonight. So I'm being very honest when I was watching that. I was like, that kid's a class act. You know, I mean, I remember just watching that, being impressed by the way you handled all of it.
Well,
like that.
Appreciate that.
No, it was totally cool. I mean, I'd love to be where you were at, and a lot of guys would love to be where you're at. And that's why I always ask anybody that's won the Classic, if you did the math of all the people that fish in the world, do you realize how small that group of people that have held that trophy up really actually is?
Yeah. There's not a whole lot of names on that trophy, dog.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like,
but you got to win the one with your name on it next year.
I don't know. That's the new goal. Yeah.
There you go,
back, baby.
We'll go. That's in Knoxville, right?
Yeah.
Next year. Yeah, we'll be up there to watch this on this one. Let's get to a couple of questions. Alex, I know you're the kayak guy, so you're kind of just listening to all this. If you got a question, dude, throw it out there for him.
Yeah.
Because especially, I think the way Easton fishes, just from what I've been reading and what I've watched, the way he fishes, I know you can do a little bit of everything, but it really suits up for Lake Lanier and the things that we like to do around here. So yeah, if you got something, throw it out there. But I'm going to do one more from Tyler, showing that real quick. How would you recommend me becoming more versatile with fishing? And Tyler is a local here, fishes Lake Lanier a lot. So he's basically got to do the opposite, get better at these lakes away from North Georgia.
To get more versatile, I mean, you just got to put yourself in environments you're not comfortable with. Like I can say when I first came down here in 2020, I had zero confidence in the crankbait. So I just threw that thing until I started catching fish on it, and now it's one of my most confident baits to get a bite on. So it's just, you got to put yourself in situations where you're not comfortable. Like if you're good at, live scope, you got to go put yourself in some dirty water and go catch them on the bank somewhere. I mean, you just got to put yourself where you're not comfortable and just make it happen. And yeah, you'll just get more and more confident as it goes on.
What's the best crankbait out there?
Oh, you got to give me more than that.
Okay.
There's so many.
How about this? What's your favorite crankbait?
6XD.
6XD. Okay. That's legit.
Deep cranking. I like deep cranking.
You like the deep crank.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's the one thing I suck at. Now Clint likes to crank deep. Alex, you crank deep?
Yeah, a little bit here and there.
Yeah. Okay. Easton, what do you consider deep?
15 or over.
Okay. Yeah. I throw a rock crawler. That's about it. That's the only one, that or a little DT. That's all I got confidence in. When you get down 15 feet, I'm done.
All I know is I don't want to fish with Clint with a rock crawler. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
Dude.
No, you do not.
Clint, was that what that was? Was it a rock crawler?
Yeah, I put a rock crawler in the back of Ian's head. Last cast of the day.
I saw that. It looked painful, dude.
Yeah, there's a 3-part
I couldn't
series
watch
on
the
how
videos.
much you don't want me putting a hook in you. That was bad. It was embarrassing. I'd never done the braid trick before, and it showed. It was bad. I had to run to Uncle Trent to come save Ian so he could drive home.
You had to call Palmer out there?
Yep. Yeah. When we went to Trent's house because it was right down the road.
Have you ever done that, Easton? You ever popped somebody?
I've hit my dad a couple times, but he didn't have a hook in his head like Clint did. Clint did good.
Oh, I mean, no.
I placed it.
Buried that thing.
He did. But dude, you came straight back too. He was right behind you. You come straight back.
We've been doing it for 8 years, and we've never had an issue. We've had plenty of close calls. We've had a couple where you like rip somebody's rod out of each other's hand or whatever. But that was 8 years, and I broke the seal, I guess, on hooking your buddy.
You knocked the shit out of him.
And then those split rings are so tiny on a freaking rock crawler, and I could not, with my split ring pliers, for the life of me, get that the bait off. So I was trying to pull with the rock crawler still on and one hook, and it was like, and then it was tied to his hair because I was trying to tie the knot, and it was still tied to his hair. So it just pulled his whole head and didn't even come out at all. He's like, "Is it out?" And I was like, "No."
You know what?
I'm sorry.
You know what that says? That speaks to the quality of the hooks. on a
Oh,
rock
yeah.
crawler. Okay,
Yeah, that's the biggest thing I've ever caught on a rock crawler.
I get that. I get that. All right, so listen.
Ian's in the comments. He said, "Still got a patch of hair missing."
Like, Ian, I'm sorry. I mean, I watched that and I was like, damn, that looked like that hurts. So, dude, I am very sorry. Clint should know better.
He was just mad it wasn't a 6XD.
Yeah,
honestly,
right.
or a gravel dog.
Gravel dog. All right, so listen. So we got to talking for a while. I know a lot of you guys had a bunch of questions up there. Instead of me scrolling back up there, go ahead and type them again. I'm going to start off with Ken Pruitt's one right here now that I've gone down to the bottom and start throwing it out there. And let's pick this guy's brain right here. Ken wants to know, how is fishing Minnesota grass different than Bama grass?
Oh, I mean, where I'm at Coosa River, they keep spraying the grass. There's hardly any grass. But like Gunnersville, for example, it's a lot of eelgrass, which we don't have in Minnesota unless you go to the Mississippi. So I guess it's really not that different. They position in the grass pretty similar in both places. It's just you just got to cover water until you find they school up pretty good in grass from what I've found. So you just got to cover a bunch of it until you find a little pot of them, and then normally when you catch one, there's more with it. So, but I think grass in general, they kind of use all of it the same.
Yeah, I think too. I read today too. Like, you're from northern Minnesota, right? Grand Rapids area.
Yeah.
So up there, all the lakes were clear, but you would go fish your high school tournaments down on the south end, where the water was dirtier, nastier. I guess to help you become more versatile.
Yeah. I mean, the high school trails, they traveled all over the state. So, but yeah, traveling with those trails definitely made me more versatile.
Okay, there you go. Tony Watkins, it was a pleasure watching you at Hartwell this year. My wife and I actually met your family at Whataburger, and all of you are great people. We became fans instantly. So that's pretty good. At a Whataburger. Let's see. Seriously. Fred Ashcraft said, I will say I used Live Scope last week for the first time. He's from over on the coast of Georgia. The fish don't just jump in the boat. It's a talent for sure. And we've been telling everybody that. I mean, you can have it. You can see them. That sure as hell don't make them bite, for sure. And then Cranking and Yanking, he's from Louisiana, and he is our anti-scoper. He wants to know how long I'm going to leave that Live Scope background up. Hey, listen, we might do that. I don't know. I might change it next time. Just for you.
Scope well. That's pretty good.
The live scope well. I don't scope well and all that. Let's see. Tyler again, back here. Here we go. All right. So we talked about being versatile. He's a finesse guy. He wants to stay with his strengths, but still become more versatile because he's going to be fishing college. And so I know you said just do things that you're not used to. Speak of maybe something in high school. How would you say, what was your strength in high school or going into college? What would you consider yourself?
Definitely finesse fishing.
Okay. So what was the first technique that you really concentrated on? Was it the crankbait?
Kind of like the crankbait, yeah, crankbait. But, also to answer his question, you can fish finesse in muddy water to some extent. You just got to change the colors of your baits. Like, I mean, we saw Koya at the Sabine River this year. He was throwing a spinning rod in Nico, and he top 10 that event. So you can alter your finesse tactics to work in most dirty water situations. You just got to change the colors of your baits and that sort of thing. So,
yeah. Well, at the Classic, didn't you? I read too that you were throwing a finesse jig, like it would at structure and all that, and that's what kind of helped you.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say something like that? So that's where a lot of guys would throw a regular jig. Why did you throw a finesse jig?
I mean, the wording probably got messed up a little bit. I was just using a flipping jig.
Okay.
I was just flipping the trees where I couldn't reach them with my Nico rig.
Okay. I think it was on Bassmaster. They said finesse or wire to fish or something like that. And I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. Let's see. Where's Jeremiah? Here we go. Do you have a go-to bait / technique for different bass species, or do you pretty much stay the same across all three? So spot, smallmouth, largemouth.
I think that's more lake dependent than species dependent. It's all about the forage for me. That's how I determine what bait I'm going to start with. Like Hartwell Lanier, for example, I'm going to start with some sort of fluke bait. It's a herring imitator. But then you go to like the Coosa River, it's like thread fins and stuff. So I'll go with a a different bait, but it's all depending on the forage rather than the species.
Okay, that jumps right into Ken's next question. Will the big minnow be the new thing, or is it more of a time of year or size of bait thing?
I think it's the size of bait thing. It depends on the time of year. Like in the fall, for example, those fish get on the big gizzards and stuff, and that's when our big minnow really shines. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say the big minnow is the next big thing. No, I don't know what the next big thing is, but I don't think it's a big minnow. It's kind of hit or miss for me.
What are you throwing right now, Alex?
I'm throwing a jig.
You're throwing a jig?
I'm throwing an underspin.
You mess with other underspins in the Easton?
Yeah, in the winter for sure. And when they get in ditches and stuff, definitely.
So you like to roll it right down the middle of the ditch?
Yep.
Is that something they do up north? Because I know it's big on Lanier down here. Is that a technique you learned down here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it works up north, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely more dominant in the south for sure.
Okay. All right, Coleman Jones, can you talk to us about the OSP? Is it Varuna? Did I say that right, Clint?
Yeah.
Varuna jerkbait.
I mean, it's a solid jerkbait. There's so many good jerkbaits out there now. OSP definitely makes a good one. That's one that I use. It's got a big profile and it's really heavy, and you can just cast it good in the wind. But yeah, I mean, it seems like every brand out there has a good jerkbait, like a go-to jerkbait now. There's not just one that dominates now.
Yeah, that makes sense right there. Eddie J. Hey, Easton, I was the marshal in your boat day 2 on Hartwell this year. What event are you looking most forward to in 26 minus the Classic?
I think Gunnersville will be a blast. It'll be a smash fest even without scope. Aside from that, probably Murray will be fun. It'll be tail end of the herring spawn. Also, a bunch of fry garters, and there'll still be some on bed. Lots to do there. And probably Champlain. Champlain will be a blast.
Is there one event you're not looking forward to?
Not really.
Okay, I like that answer. Good. Generally, somebody's got this one lake, but hey, hell, he's going to go fish them all. He don't care. Justin Reynolds, what % of fish would he say he catches keeping his Nico above the fish versus letting it fall to the bottom?
That's all just reading the fish's mood. A lot of times they're either wanting to feed down or they're wanting to feed up. So he's got to try, each technique on a bunch of different fish and just get a feel for what they want on that given day.
Okay.
How do you go through fish? Like when you're going through fish, like if I'm throwing a Nico and I throw it down past their face, like five different fish, and they're reading it down, and then I try it up. Are you completely switching baits, presentations, or like how do you go through when you're like, all right, are they gonna eat it on the bottom? Do I need to minnow it above their head? Like how do you go through that process?
Yeah, so I'll always start throwing the Nico past them and letting it go to the bottom. That's how I'd always start with, because that's usually what they want. But there is times where they'll be sitting on a piece of structure or whatever they're doing, and they'll follow it to bottom. And there's some times where they lose interest before it hits bottom and they just swim back up. And that always is a sign where they're feeding up. They don't want to feed down. So that's when I'll start, throwing it over their heads. But if they're not doing that, they will follow it all the way down. That's when you just got to play with them and just, you got to try, popping it or just letting it sit there, dead sticking it. I mean, you just got to get a feel on each different day on what they want. But there's a lot of times where like I said, they'll follow it down, but they'll lose interest before it hits bottom. And that's, they're feeding up.
See that right there, guys?
That's a nugget right there.
Yeah, that's what I was getting. That's some juice. That is some juice right there. Now, Alex, I'm going to let you read this question. Can you see the questions on your side?
Yeah, I can see them.
Read that one.
Since Alex is dressed for a Minnesota ice fishing trip, what's the coldest ice fishing trip Easton has ever done?
I don't remember the coldest. I know I've done plenty of -20s.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I don't remember what the coldest day was. But it's cold. I know that.
Talk about shrinkage right there. That would kill me. I'd die. Yeah. I really would. Jeff Brazil, this is our Pickwick buddy. I picked Easton to win the Classic this year, a couple of weeks before the tournament, on a Ben Milliken Facebook post. Congratulations, and thanks for making me look smart right there. So there you go. That's pretty cool right there.
That's cool.
That is cool. All right, Matthew Smith. How does Easton approach tournaments? High percentage / run and gun versus slow, methodical, pick it apart.
I'm a fast guy. I'm always going to move fast. The first thing I want to do is I want to find the biomass. I want to find where the bait's at, what's it doing, if it's shallow, if it's deep. And then from there is when I'll try to find the bass and what they're doing. Typically based on time of year, I'll have a general idea if they'll be pre or post spawn, but you never know. You got to just feel that out. But like I said, I'm running around just trying to find what the bait's doing, and then I'll go from there.
Hey, let me ask you, when you got your first live scope, what was the first thing that you just kind of, it opened your eyes to like, wow? Because like for me, it was how much fish actually move. I think a lot of people think that fish is just sitting on that rock all the time. So the first time I saw it, it was like, damn, nothing's staying still. What was your kind of like wow moment the first time you used it?
The first time I remember using it, me and my dad were actually crappie fishing, and we were using slip bobbers. And we found a school of them in the back of a little pocket, I guess, kind of staging to spawn. And we throw a slip bobber in there, and just like we thought they would, they'd all swam up, and they, you got a bite, you set the hook. But then when you caught one, they all rush to bottom and they disappear. And you would have never thought that would happen without live scope. And then it would take 3 or 4 minutes, and the school would just slowly come back up off the bottom. You could see them getting comfortable again, and then you could fire in there and catch another one. So right away I got like an aha moment, like this is crazy, and this is gonna change the game. So from then on is when I went 100% on trying to learn it.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex, what was your aha moment?
How quick they'll move. How quick they move. It's like I'd get on them and get ready to cast and look back at the screen and they'd be gone.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, what about you, Clint?
I don't use live scope.
You're scared of cranking and yanking up there. Go ahead, be a man and answer the question.
Probably just like how good they can see the bait, especially in clear water, like looking at Lake Lanier, some of these mountain lakes, like being able to like see your worm hit the surface and they're already coming up out of 30 foot is crazy to me that they can see that far.
That's a good point. Absolutely. Andy Anderson, would be great to see you on Gunnersville if the Ultimate Angler does it there again. Are you living on Gunnersville full time now?
I'm living 15 minutes from Lay Lake, so I'm about 2.5 to 3 hours south of Gunnersville. So
okay, all right. Papa Pond Hopper, what and where are you throwing when the weather is fluctuating like it's been here in Kentucky? Hey, dude, I was in Kentucky this past week, and he's not lying. 72 degrees. I was telling the guys, 72 degrees Saturday night in the deer stand. Sunday morning, like in the 30s, wind blowing 30 miles an hour. So I get the fluctuating in Kentucky. And that's what he said. It went from 60s to snowing and going back to 60s the next couple of days. So how do you approach something when you know you're going to have all these weather up and downs?
When I see crazy weather patterns, especially in the fall, I'm fishing channel swing banks because that allows the fish to just slide up and down the banks, whether it's cold or warm or whatever. They have everything they need on a channel swing bank, so that's definitely what I'm fishing if I see the forecast fluctuating like that. And if it's warm, I'll be throwing a square bill, spinnerbait, that sort of thing. If it's cold, I'll just drag a jig down the drop or something like that, a little bit slower. So. But definitely a channel swing bank is what I'm going to target.
There you go. Papa Pond Hopper, I appreciate you joining us. We're getting more and more guys from Kentucky. I love it right there. Tyler, do y'all think punching with a dice bait would work well? Like a rubber leg stick bait. I know guys will punch with Senkos, but I just don't think the fish have seen it. So can you punch with a dice bait?
I mean, I know I never have. I'm sure they would bite it. To me, a punch and bite is more of a reaction bite than anything. They see something fly in their face and they grab it. So to me, I don't think a dice style bait is that critical in a punching setup. I don't think they can see very well under there unless it's like a really deep mat, super clear water. But I guess I don't have much of that around here. But yeah, to me, it's just some sort of a craw bait where I can be efficient getting in and out the mats.
Absolutely. All right. Tony wants to know, Easton, how do you reset when and if you feel like you're going to spin out during a tournament?
Let's talk about Florida.
Yeah, let's talk about Florida.
All right, let's talk about it.
So in both of the tournaments in Florida, I found kind of just one pattern that, I felt good about and nothing else, which usually never bothers me. But both tournaments in Florida, those patterns I found didn't work, and I kind of freaked out and just kept trying to enforce those patterns, which I know better than to do that, but it was just the pressure of my first elite events and just, everything just caught up with me. So when I feel the pressure of getting spun out, I just I pick up the bait that I'm most confident in. It's typically a Nico, to be honest, and I'll just start running around with that. But yeah, when I feel myself spinning out, I'm just trying to go to get some bites. Maybe not even necessarily big ones. I just want to start reeling some in, and then from there we'll go get a big bite.
I got to ask this question because he's talking about spinning out. It was his first elite tournaments. Like, I can't sleep before a daggum local tournament up here on Lake Lanier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, like, I'm up all night retying stuff, watching infomercials on TV. What is it like actually going into your first Bassmaster events, as far as like the pressure, the nervousness? How did you feel, and how did you kind of deal with that?
Well, I dealt with it poorly, as we saw in the results, but no, it was absolutely insane for me to pull up to the docks, and first dude I talked to was Polinick. First time ever talking to him, that was like, holy cow. And then I have a bunch of the other guys being like, hey, what's up, welcome, sort of deal. And I was just like blown away. Like, it was quite the experience for me. But yeah, and it flustered me, to be honest. I didn't know what to do. So, but crazy experience.
Hey, being honest though, I like that. Yeah, it flustered him a little bit. Now, Kendra, she is from Michigan, so she's one of our northern friends too. Who would you say is your biggest influence in fishing?
Aaron Martins for me. That was the guy I watched growing up.
Did you pattern any of your fishing like him?
Yeah, what I've done, or what I've tried to do growing up, was mix A-Mart with KVD. Like, I want to fish faster than everyone with a spinning rod. That's kind of my I guess, style of fishing that I've tried to adapt.
Okay. Clint, could you take this question?
Yeah. What are the talents to make you an above average scoper? So what do you think, with the time you've put into it, what's made you better than the rest?
Being more efficient than your competition, and also knowing what you're looking at. When I'm scoping, I can tell you what's a bass, what's a gar, what's a catfish, what's a drum, without even throwing at it. And I can also tell you about to the pound how big that bass is if I am going to throw at it. So that's two things. That's the sole reason why I won Ray Roberts. I was only throwing at big bass all week. I wasn't throwing at those gar or the catfish or nothing. And that's also why you won Eufaula Oklahoma. So just being efficient in what you're doing and knowing what you're looking at, you'd be so surprised how much time that will save you in a tournament day. Like, just not throwing at anything but a nice bass. If you're just throwing at blobs, you'll get lost.
Do you think that's just time on the water, learning how to read that or the water column, a little bit of everything, trying to figure out and decipher what fish are new fisheries? Like, when you go to a fishery, like a Texas fishery that has a bunch of trash fish in it, quote unquote, like, how do you differentiate the bass and the trash fish?
If they're suspended, the trash fish, a lot of times they swim nose down, or they look different. I mean, it's almost instinctual what I think is a bass, and what's like, it's so hard to explain. I've just looked at so many fish where I can just look at one and be like, yeah, bass. But a lot of the drum and catfish swim nose down. If they're relating to structure, it's just sometimes if it's so close to structure, I do have to throw at it. And if it's a drum or a catfish, it'll follow your bait. And if it doesn't bite, it'll keep swimming. But if it's a bass, it'll almost always go back to that piece of structure because they're territorial about that structure that they're on. So that's a big sign for me if it's a bass or not. But yeah, that's a couple things that are kind of light bulb moments for me if it's a bass or if it's a trash fish.
Okay. Real quick, Fred Ashcraft, if you're still out there, I got a text. This is why I love our Fish North Georgia family. Mentioned to me that your father had passed away. And I don't know that we have mentioned that or have talked about that in any of the chats.
You're wrong there. He's talking about Crankin and Yankin's father.
Oh, Crankin. He put Fred Ashcraft because I was like, I didn't know that. Okay, so I was like, whoo, now Crankin and Yankin, we've already told that. Okay, we talked about that. He knows we love him. But I was there thinking like Fred Ashcraft's father passed away. And I was like, oh, Lord, I didn't say nothing. So, okay. Well, I'm glad he didn't. So there you go, Clint. Thank you very much.
He was talking about Crankin and Yankin's father passed away.
Okay, good. Well,
a couple months ago.
Okay.
Still thinking about you.
Yeah, we're thinking about you, Crankin and Yankin, but I thought I done missed something somewhere. And I was
unless I missed something too, but I don't think so.
Okay, good. All right, there you go. Anthony Hampton wants to know. That's just the way we roll here, Easton. So you never know what we're going to get. Favorite Nico worm?
Oh, that's an obvious one. It's a red bug. Strike King.
Ooh.
finesse worm, and red bug.
Red bug. There you go. What makes red bug so good?
Wins classics.
I know.
Yeah, a couple of top 10s after that too.
I had a couple top 10s and also the classic on that worm this year. I have so much confidence in it; it's crazy.
Yeah, that's a hell of a color, though. It is a great color.
Do you change it up when you go to Clearwater? More of like standard traditional stuff, or
red bug is kind of my stained, maybe a little chocolate water. It's definitely not my crystal clear water color. If I'm crystal clear, it's going to be some sort of a green pumpkin. So
good Lord at all the questions we got. Guys are throwing them out here. We're going to go rapid fire right here for a little bit. Do you think fishing herring lakes makes you a better angler?
100%. Just they change so much, and herring lakes are one of a kind. That was the hardest kind of lake for me to learn in college. That was the one that took the longest. So,
yeah. What was your first herring lake?
Hartwell.
Mm-hmm. Hartwell's that's a great lake. Do you think big bass are punctual or habitual about when they'll be where or when they'll feed? Can you pattern big bass?
I mean, yes, but it changes. I mean, it's different on every lake. Typically, big bass, they'll be on some sort of a structure. They like you hear the craze on floating fish all the time. The biggest bass in the lake typically don't do that. They're always sitting on some sort of a structure for the most part. So, but yeah, I would say they're patternable. They'll be on points and that sort. They're typically on something pretty obvious. Or there's a reason why a big bass is where it's at.
They're gonna be where the food is.
Right.
That's exactly what they're gonna do. Kendra wants to know, if you had to pick what fishing techniques you would like to improve on, what would they be right now?
The only lure I can think of that I don't have confidence in right now is a trap. So it would definitely be a trap.
Really? Why do you not have confidence with a trap?
I haven't thrown it enough. So that's my next bait that I'm going to hammer down this winter and get confidence in.
That's scary looking at that schedule next year.
Yeah, that's another reason I got
Yeah, for sure. When you fish a tournament, do you take the approach of 5 big bites, or you want to fill a limit and then call?
That depends on the fishery. It also depends what I'm fishing. Like for the opens example, you definitely got to worry about getting bites and then a big bite because you're fishing for points. But now that I'm on the elites, it's more about big bites, I would say. It's less, you got to. But I say that, and you gotta, man, I don't know. It's, you gotta have, you're going for big bites, but you gotta have just places to get a bite in your back pocket if all goes bad. So I would say in practice, I'm looking for a little bit of each.
Okay. Alex, how you do that in a kayak tournament? You going for 5 bites or 5 long fish? I mean, how the hell does that work?
I'm trying to catch as many fish as I can, and hopefully there's some big ones mixed in.
There you go. What about you, Clint?
Yeah, I think I never really go head hunting like a lot of people say. Like I'm gonna go catch 5 and go head hunting or whatever. It's like most of the time for me, if I'm gonna catch a big one, it's gonna be in the first half of the day for me. Where as Easton likes to wait till 2:30 and stress us all out at the classic, and then catch a giant and make sure that it goes down in history as like one of the most iconic fish catches ever in Bassmaster history.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's no big deal. No, he knew it the entire time. I mean,
that was seriously pretty badass.
It was
like catching one at 2:30. Of course, I was in the camera boat at 2:00 and I was putting her on the trailer. And luckily, a couple people stuck around and got that because it was rough out there.
How about that catch though? I mean, kind of describe that, because I mean that's one of them moments.
Yeah. So that I fished that area in practice. And I didn't see much in practice. And then I also fished it the first day of the tournament, and I still didn't see nothing. And I went back in there after I caught my big bag on day 2, and I upgraded one more time to what I ended up weighing, and I went to the back and I saw some nice ones. I was like, all right, this is a good place to hit tomorrow. So I ended up starting in there, didn't see hardly anything. And then, I went on with my rotation, went to where I caught them the first 2 days. And then I was at like a tee where I needed to make a decision. I didn't know if I should go where I caught him on day 2 or if I should go there. and something told me to go there, so that's where I went. And plus, it was on the way back to the ramp. The other spot was the other way, and I knew it was rough on the lake, so that kind of helped with the decision. But yeah, we went there, and it was in the very back of the pocket, and I'd covered all the trees I thought they'd be. Nothing. And finally, on that tree, there's 2 giants in there, right in the middle of the tree. They're on the actual stalk of the tree, not hanging out on the branches where I'd like them to be. So it was super hard for me to get a bait into that fish where he could see it. And I was telling my camera guy, like, these are like 8-pounders. Like, these are the tournament right here. Like, I literally told him it's an 8-pounder. And yeah, it took so many throws for me to get that fish's attention. Like, I didn't want to flip a jig in there because they were hit or miss on the jig. It was like, I'd say a quarter of them would bite that jig after I flipped it in there, and then they'd get all weird. So I just wanted them to see that Nico so bad. And I fished for him for like 15 minutes, and that fish, for whatever reason, just swam out, like, just randomly just started swimming. And I was just like, here's my time. Threw at it, and I actually got denied. The fish came up to me, like, it was so close to my worm, I couldn't see my worm on live scope anymore. Like, I was just like, here we go. And then the fish turned around and swam away, and I was like, no. And the fish was swimming away, and it got like 20 feet away from my worm, and it just lit up, and I was just like, oh boy, like what's happening? And then the fish just turned around and like ignited on my worm out of nowhere.
Were you just like letting it fall, or did you have it like tight line suspended, kind of just pendulum? Or
I had it tight line suspended. It was still off the bottom. But normally when a fish like disregards my worm is swimming off, I'm already reeling in to make another throw. So I don't know what made me keep that worm in the water, but I did. And the fish, it lit up, like I said, and it turned around. And when I say that fish came so fast, it was like a blur on my screen. Like, it didn't even register. It came so fast, and it was just, I mean, it smoked my worm. And yeah, then the rest is history.
You yelled at it and saying, "Come on, like, just get in the boat." Like,
I got a little upset with him.
Well, I think everybody would have already reeled in. I mean, honestly, we'd be making another cast. So, maybe a little higher power made you just kind of keep it there. Yeah. Keep it there for a second.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Just, you wouldn't expect that. That's just crazy.
And then landing it with all the trees and everything around it, like on a spinning rod. Like,
yes, I'm glad you said that. What is your Nico setup?
For that tournament, it's kind of different than most tournaments. With all the trees and stuff around, I'll still use an 8-pound braid so I could cast well. But with all the trees and stuff, I was using a 17-pound fluorocarbon leader, both for the abrasion resistance and also the strength where I could horse them out of there. So.
Okay. What knot? Everybody wants to know, what knot do you go braid to fluoro with?
I'm an Alberto guy. I'm not an FG guy.
Yeah. So that's why I like him more and more. Listen, you FG snobs, here's your Bassmaster Classic champ, and he does the Alberto.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I got to learn how to tie that one.
You don't know how to tie the Alberto?
No,
because you're an FG snob.
I spent 3 days in an offshore boat trying to figure it out, and I finally halfway figured it out.
Well, if it's good enough for Easton, it's good enough for all of you guys. So learn the Alberto knot. Jeremiah says, more and more people are Nico fishing. Do you think it's replacing the wacky rig and the drop shot? Now, I'm a wacky rig guy, so that's what I like to do. I don't know. You other guy, Clint, y'all throw the drop shot? I don't throw it that often.
Yes. I throw a drop shot a pretty good amount.
Okay, so what about you, Easton? And is the Nico replacing it, in your opinion?
No, I think there's a time and place for all three of them. Like, a wacky will always be one of the best dock fishing baits ever. Mm-hmm. And, just skipping around bushes and that sort of thing, I'm always going to throw a wacky. So a wacky will always be in my arsenal. And same with the drop shot. There's definitely a time and place for all three of them.
I like you more and more with every answer you give. I mean, he's nailing my list of important things.
Danny loves wacky rig.
Wacky rig, Alberto knot. I mean, he can't get any better, dude. I mean, seriously. How many crankbaits or hard baits in general do you go through in order to keep the best one specifically for pro tournaments? Or do you take the first one out of the package if you lost one? I guess he said, how many do you go through normally?
I guess.
Am I reading that right? Did I read that wrong?
I don't know. That's a confusing question, to be fair.
How many crankbaits do you go through before you find the one you like?
I mean, typically not many. I mean, there's definitely plenty of them that come out of the package not running right, and you got to tune them. There is that, and I don't lose all that many crankbaits. I have one of the lure retrievers. If I do get snagged, it'll come out every time. So I don't go through that many, to be honest.
There you go. All right, now Ken's helping me out right here. And so you're going to help me out personally. Give me a juicy, wacky worm tip that the average guy doesn't know about.
Less is more with a wacky worm. Just let that thing sit there.
Really? You throw it weightless a lot, or how do you throw yours mostly?
Yeah, if I'm throwing a wacky, it's 90% of the time it's weightless, yeah.
So you let it go all the way to the bottom and just let it sit?
Yeah, almost, I fish that thing really slow, yeah.
Almost like your dad's sticking it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there you go. That might be a mistake I'm making because I generally throw it up under a dock or something. I give it a few pops here and there. Well, let me ask you this. How about this? So you throw it and you let it sink to the bottom. What's your next, like if you want to move it, what's your next kind of action? Are you a popper or are you just kind of slowly dragging it?
I'm going to slowly drag it. Twitching a wacky on the bottom is super deadly.
There you go. Now that was for me. So now I'm going to be even better, Clint. So I learned something tonight. Our buddy Paul is in the house right here. You just fished a redfish tournament. Any parallels with redfish and bass?
First of all, hi, Paul.
Yeah, hi, Paul. How you doing, Paul?
There is some parallels, but there's also some differences. The way they behave is a little bit different. I guess the way they react to baits is very similar. Typically, when you get one in front of a redfish or a bass, it's going to bite. But from what I gathered, the redfish shift more than a bass. And what I mean by that is they'll be within, a 300-yard radius, whereas a bass will just pack its bags and leave if it wants to, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The bass will just completely change what they're doing a lot more than a redfish will, from what I saw. But that was only just a week doing it. So
yeah, redfish taste better than bass. I can just go ahead and tell you that for sure.
Yeah,
they do. Redfish on a half shell is amazing. For minnow fishing, is there a time you like the split tail versus the straight tail versus the paddle tail?
A split tail and a straight tail is kind of the same thing in my book. It's just the action is just a little bit different. Paddle tail is just a cast and wind bait for me. I will use it on forward facing for some, but for me, typically that's just a cover water bait. I'll get on a shallow flat or something, especially for smallmouth, and I'm just throwing that thing as far as I can and reeling it in. So, and the straight tail baits is more of my, strictly forward facing baits.
Let me ask you, of the three, black bass species you guys catch, what's your favorite?
You gotta. I mean, it changes day by day for me. I go in moods.
Okay, so you're in a good mood. What fish is a good mood?
They're all good moods. There's no bad ones.
Listen, the one that pays the most, that's the one he likes right there. What's an ideal Nico weight size for 15 foot or less?
The weight I'm always going to start with is a 332nd, no matter what depth I'm fishing. That's like the all-around go-to Nico weight size.
What do you throw, Alex?
A 332nd.
Look at that. I mean, we'll just start calling you Easton. You're right there. You're nailed on it. What about you, Clint?
332nd or a 16th.
I wish one of y'all would have said, no, he's wrong. I use this. But you guys are just copying what the hell he said. I mean.
I got his setup out of the Bassmaster magazine.
Hey, it works. I like it right there. What techniques do you see playing more in the no-scope tournaments coming up that hasn't played much recently?
It's going to be a lot of your cover water baits, your chatter baits, spinner baits, swim jigs, that sort of thing, just stuff you can cover water with. It's going to be a lot more of that style stuff. Flipping a jig. I mean, just more of your old school techniques.
All right, so I'm going to ask you, what team are you on? Are you on team spinnerbait or team chatterbait?
Cold water, I'll say spinnerbait. Summer months, I'm a chatterbait guy.
Okay, he's flexible is what he's saying right there. All right, our buddy from Kentucky, what is your personal best? Where and what did you catch it on? And let's say largemouth to start off with.
The biggest I've ever put on a scale is fork this year in practice. I caught a 992.
All right, what did you catch it on?
It was on a Nico.
On a Nico. I like it consistent. What about spotted bass?
Spotted bass, 6 pounds, 2 ounces on Lay Lake.
On a Nico?
That's a dang stud.
That was a minnow.
That was a minnow. All right, let's go smallmouth. We might as well just finish it out.
I can't remember exact weight. It's right around 7 pounds. Probably on a hair jig.
Ooh.
In Minnesota?
It was actually Wisconsin, Lake Michigan.
Where are you from, right? You're from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
They had a couple of mess ups on Bassmaster Live where they said he was from Wisconsin and Bethel University.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Listen, I did my homework before we started this.
Yeah, you did. You're doing good, Danny.
And I normally don't do homework. I don't want to mess this up tonight, right there for sure. That's why I have you guys around. Easton, massive props on finishing the year. Where you did after the rough start? I don't believe anyone has ever made up that much ground before. And so let me ask you this. So like after a couple of rough starts, give me your mindset. And did you change anything, or did you just finally say, you know what, I'm just going to go fish?
It's a little bit of that. It's just what confidence will do for you. Is all it is. The Classic just showed me that I do belong, you know, on the Elite Series. So just believing that and believing that I'm doing the right thing is all it was. That's the only thing I changed.
I like that. Have confidence. Believe in yourself right there. At what depth do you fizz a fish, or is that still a thing? We have to do that here in North Georgia a lot with the spots and all coming up from really deep water. Do you fizz fish? And if you do you go through the side or do you go through the mouth?
I go through the side. Typically, I do everything I can to not fizz a fish. I'm more of a fin clip guy. I only fizz a fish if I absolutely have to. So typically, I'm using fin clips more than fizzing.
Yeah, I think they work too. What are some tips for a beginner Nico thrower?
I mean, just throw it. I mean, you get that thing in front of some bass, they're going to bite it. So you just got to pick it up and start throwing it and start catching them. And, you know, just like any technique, the more fish you catch on it, the more confidence you'll have in it.
Now, do you ever throw the chicken rig, which is just a weedless Nico?
I have a little bit, yeah.
You like it?
I do.
Okay, there you go. If you had to pick one that you could only throw for the rest of your life, would it be a Wacky or a Nico? And I believe I know what the answer is going to be.
It'd be Nico, yeah.
It'll be Nico. What do you think is the biggest mistake most guys make when throwing a Nico?
Probably not realizing how much fall rate matters.
Okay,
explain. Weight size.
Yeah,
that's the biggest. You know, above color or size of worm or anything, it's fall rate that matters the most with a Nico. So it's like I said, I always start with a 3/32, and I'll go either up or down from there. So.
Do you think most guys go too heavy to start with?
I would say so, yeah.
Because I don't think, Clint, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, we talked to a lot of guys. I would think a lot of people are like, let's get the Nico down on the bottom so I can work it. And a lot of guys don't think about how he was talking about fishing above them, letting the fish show you. I mean, wouldn't you say that's kind of, and Alex, you can do this. I mean, wouldn't that be the common thing? Guys are just thinking about Nico cast, bottom bait.
A lot of guys treat it as like a shaky head too. I feel like with a heavier Nico head or those like mushroom style heads. And then when you're going nail weight versus a mushroom style head, like when you're trying to get that bottom contact, I mean, there's a difference in using those two. Would you say you're more of a mushroom style or a nail weight kind of guy?
It depends on what I'm trying to accomplish with it.
You're on Lake Hartwell, or can you talk about, is that next?
No, it's not on schedule. I can talk about it. Typically, like Hartwell, I'm using an internal weight, just your traditional nail weight. And the difference between the two is your internal weights will spiral on the way down, and your external weights fall straight down like a rock. And another instance where I'll vary those is when I'm casting in heavy winds, and external weights will cut through the wind a lot better than an internal weight. The internal weight just flies around like a sock, but the external weight will cut through. So
that's a good little tip right there. For sure. And I don't think a lot of people think about the fall rate. Alex, you got anything you want to ask? You've been sitting there listening and all that, taking this all in.
Yeah. What's your research look like? Are you just straight Google Earth kind of guy, or are you watching videos on past tournaments and on YouTube and stuff like that?
I don't really watch videos all that much. Typically, I'll look for tournament results just to get a gauge on what caliber of fish I'm looking for in order to do well. And then from there, it's mostly Google Earth. I don't really care about what guys caught them on in the past or any of that, just because, like the Dardanelle instance, like I told you, like I'm going to do it my way. And, you know, even if I saw something where people want to do it in this thing, I'm most likely not going to have confidence in that. You know what I mean? So.
Okay. Jeremiah wants to know, do you dead stick a Nico or keep it moving the entire time? I don't like how it just lays dead on the bottom when it rests.
It depends. There's a lot of times that, like Hartwell, for example, a dead stick is like the most deadly thing ever. Just letting it sit there and the spots will eventually grab it. They just can't stand it. But like Ray Roberts, for example, on day one when it was cloudy and super windy, I had to pop it like aggressively in front of them in order to trigger them. So it's all about just getting a feel for it and just trying different things every day, like I mentioned earlier.
So do you ever use any of the dye, you dye a tail, chartreuse, any of those little tricks? Or how about scents?
I use scent a little bit. I'm not fully sold on it. I am playing with it a little bit, but like I said, I haven't had like that moment where I knew it was scent that was the game changer for me. But I will chartreuse the tail from here and there if I that's a big spotted bass thing for me. Spots love a chartreuse tail, so. But yeah, I'm not too big on the scents.
See, there's another thing. Like Clinton and them know that I don't get the scent game.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of guys believe in it, love it. I haven't had that moment like he's talking about.
And I have them all, but I feel like I'm always too lazy to send it up. But then sometimes I will, and sometimes I won't. But I mean, it's never been a consistent thing. But people who are about the scent, they are like about the scent. It's like, I feel like you got to be one way or the other. You got to be putting it on every single bait or not at all.
Yeah, I'm gonna dope all my baits up with coffee scent. I still don't. I mean, I don't get that. Alex, I know you like scents. What do you use?
JJ's Magic.
You like the garlic.
Yeah.
Got the Italian fish you're going for. I totally get it. I respect that. Justin Reynolds, I think he answered your question on the type of weights to use. Kendra wants to know, what's your go-to drop shot bait?
It's honestly usually the same Nico worm, just on a drop shot.
Red bug?
Yeah, red bug. Yeah.
What is that worm called? It's a KVD finesse or something.
Yeah, it's a KVD finesse worm. That's a 6.5-inch worm.
Do you realize how many guys tomorrow, they won't admit it, but they're going to go out and buy some red bug worms of whatever they like, just because they're like, oh, if it's good enough for him, maybe I should start using it like that. I guarantee you there's somebody out there that's like, you've already thought about it, or you've already ordered them on Tackle Warehouse. Just like Clint does halfway through the middle of a show. He's ordering baits and stuff over there. Always. You got to be ready, man. How long do you let a fish look at your Nico on scope once it hits the bottom before you decide to move it? Our buddy AB wants to know.
If it's colder, like in the fall, I'll let them look at it a lot longer than if it's in the summer. In the summer, I'll be a little bit more aggressive with it. I guess that's more of a water temp thing. But also, you just got to play with it. Like I said, it's always a trial and error with every single fish I see on the forward facing. I'm always trying something new on all the fish until I feel like I'm getting dialed in on what they want.
Let me ask you, how many days on the water do you spend in a given week?
5 or 6 days.
So you're on it. So you definitely take time to noodle around, play with it, play with everything, kind of see what works and all that.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Got to do it. Got to be on the water. What spinner bait do you like? Josh Burris wants to know.
This year I really fell in love with the Strike King one. It's a 5/16 ounce. I can't the exact name of it. I think it's just their finesse spinner bait, but it's got Indiana blades on it. It's in between a willow leaf and a Colorado, so it's really good at fishing shallow water, fishing slow. That's what I almost top 10 this Bean River event on, was mostly that spinner bait.
Boy, that was a tough event, wasn't it?
It was tough, but I loved it. I wish we'd go back.
That's what you remember. Now, Clint, didn't Emil say that? Because he said he liked the grind. Those tournaments where everybody's got to grind. He actually liked that.
I feel like too. I mean, just really puts people in their place of like, you got to figure it out.
Yeah, those are my favorite style tournaments where it's a mental battle more than anything. Those are my favorite events.
Yeah, like when you get the king of mental battles of Brandon Polinick zeroing, you're like, holy crap! Like, that's a tough place.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, Crankin' Yankin has a question. How much of a part did forward facing sonar play at your win on the Classic?
Oh, it was 100% of it. That's
okay.
I committed to it. I did try a bunch of grass and stuff in practice, and I caught a couple bites, but the efficiency just wasn't there. There was too many fish doing your typical pre-spawn stuff to where I couldn't ignore that. That's just the most efficient thing going.
Oh, when you're fishing for a Classic trophy, you're going to do what takes, for sure. I get that. Jerry Catula wants to know, what is your opinion on the Hydro Wave?
I've actually never used a Hydro Wave, so I guess I can't really answer that. I've never even tried it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Father Time is in the house, and of course he says bang scent. So he likes that. No, he does. He loves that bang scent. Jeremiah says, I 100% believe in scent, but only specific brands and flavors, and it only makes a difference about 60% of the time. Still 60% more bites, though. Sounds like he's got the Randy Blockett numbers he's just pulling out of his ass right there. Jeremiah, I'm just kidding with you. You know I love you, so I'm just kidding with you. But Father Time does say redbug is a staple color. And he's been fishing since Moses was walking the earth, so he should know. I mean, he's going to get me Thursday night for that comment right there.
And he still looks 42.
Oh, I know, dude. Seriously. I hope to be alive at his age, but if I can look like just 80% of what Kevin does, it's gonna be all right. What's your ultimate bucket list fish that you have not caught yet? If you could take one trip anywhere in the world to catch one fish, what would it be?
It's funny he asked that. It's his picture he's got there. It's a tarpon. That's my bucket list fish.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, would you want to do it on a fly rod or conventional, or does it matter?
I feel like it'd be a good challenge on a fly rod. I'd like to do that.
Hell yeah, I like that too. Tony Hall, ever tried the Raid? God, I don't even know how to pronounce this. Igu Dama.
There you go.
Level jig or any of the other micro jigs.
I've never tried the Raid one. Bottom Up makes a jig, a super small jig that I've used. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I haven't found too many instances where the micro jig was like the deal. Not yet, at least. So,
okay, there you go. Kendra says, I love the fact that you're a fin clip guy. I am the same. It's been very, very successful for me. I target tons of smallmouth. Like that.
Yeah, I mean, more often than not, a fin clip will get the job done from what I've seen, unless they come from super, super deep. So,
yeah, I agree with that. Now, listen, this is what I'm talking about, guys, right here. Tackle Warehouse already sold out of the Strike King Ocho Redbug 4-inch and 6-inch. Clint, give some of those ones that you bought during the show, since you might have ordered some of them. Like, I told the guy, I was at Tackle Warehouse yesterday. I told the guys they just need to sponsor the show. We could sell the hell out of everything they got right there for sure. It happens. What was that other bait that one time somebody mentioned on the show? Was it when Jake Maddox was on? Or who was it?
What was it? And they sold out like before the show was over.
Before the show was over, they sold out right there. I told you everybody's gonna go buy that color. Let's see. When you use a chatterbait, which one do you use and what trailer do you use? If you use one, I've had a lot of luck on the white Jack Hammer Sammy with a Guggen rattling Ned. That rattling Ned, that's a little interesting. We ain't heard that one before. What do you use if you do?
I'm typically just a Thunder Cricket guy. I'm more of a 1/2 ounce than a 3/8 ounce guy, and it's typically almost always a menace grub. I mean, you can flip it, vertically, and it's more of a bluegill imitator, or horizontally, it's more of a craw imitator. It's pretty versatile in that sense.
I meant to ask you that same question about the spinnerbait. What trailer do you like to use, and do you use like a stinger hook or something like that?
I do use a stinger hook a lot of times, and my trailer on a spinnerbait. I either don't use one, or I'll put just a small paddle tail on it if I want to keep it up in the water column.
Okay. What do you think about that, Alex?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get you.
Sounds good.
I know you're like Kevin over there. You're listening, just taking it all in. I know, I get it. Cranking the Yankee wants to know, is there a difference in the red bug color and the red shad color?
I guess I'm not even that familiar with the red shad color.
I think red shad might be a shade darker. Clint, do you know?
I don't know if I've ever seen red shad.
I've just fallen in love so much with the red bug, I haven't looked anywhere else.
Well, I get it. I totally get it. You ever throw that in a big old monster or something like that when you're on a largemouth lake?
All the time. That's my go-to color when I'm dragging on a ledge or something.
Yeah, I will say that around here. A lot of times we fish a lot of electric-only tournaments. When we get on a largemouth lake and I hear guys catching big ones or targeting that, they're always throwing an old monster red bug. Always throwing that. So just got my first Sakamata shads in. Are they as good as people make them sound? And if so, what's the go-to size you like?
It's typically with those, I'm throwing the bigger ones, the 6 through the 8 inches. If it's smaller than that, I'm typically just throwing a Z2. But yeah, they are good. That's the reason why they're always sold out, is they're good. So typically, if you just start looking for baits and they're sold out everywhere, that probably means they're pretty good.
That's it. That's for sure. Do you hunt?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. I don't know. I was looking at this question from Jeff was kind of like a different type of fishing. So I was just wanting to know if you hunted and all that stuff too. You ever steelhead fish much? I did a few years ago up in Northeast Ohio, and being a southern bass fisherman, I absolutely enjoyed it. Can't wait to go again.
I have a couple times, very, very little for me though, but I also enjoy it. I just, don't have time to do it right now, at least.
Well, you probably don't right now. You're probably pretty busy. Here you go, Kevin. Red shad is a solid color. Red bug is more of a translucent color.
There we go.
So that's that's fair enough. Red shad is red and gray a little bit too as well.
I used to throw that was like one of the first colors of worms I threw in a pond back in the day, because it had that like gray on the bottom. It was like solid. It was like a grayish silver on the bottom, and then like a red bug on top.
Was it culprit? Was it a culprit worm? Culprit made that worm like that.
I want to say it was a Zoom. Honestly, I think it was like a Zoom.
Okay.
Whatever 7-inch worm was.
All right, here you go. Jeremiah Giles wants to know, does the rolling action of the jig and minnow actually make that big of a difference, or is it just a minnow profile shaking in place enough?
The rolling is definitely a big deal in the warmer water situations, but once you get in the dead of winter, the rolling definitely isn't as big of a player. Just a little tail quivering in their face is plenty enough for them to bite it.
Okay. Culprit for sure. David Unkin said like that. Yeah, culprit made that worm. They made one like what you're describing.
Yeah,
Clint, for sure. Okay, Spicer wants to know, the 8-inch looks giant. He's talking about the minnow. It'll be the biggest minnow he's ever thrown. What jig head weight will pair best with that?
The weight, I typically throw it on actually a pretty lightweight, like an 1/8 ounce, head. And just there's times where that big profile just lobbing over their head is, it's when they're on gizzard shad is when that bait's like dynamite. So,
do you have like a 5/0, or how big of a hook on that?
I typically just use a 3/0 Gami head.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So Crankin' Yankee says, yes, the first I used was a culprit, red that faded into a dark reddish black color. So that's what us old timers remember, the culprit. And then Ken said this. So Danny, red is not just an early spring color. He's a classic champ. That's one thing that down here, especially when that crankbaits, your rock crawler, stuff like that, we go into this little period of time in the wintertime where everybody's throwing red crankbaits. Red, I guess you could say chatterbaits, anything kind of jigs like that. Did you ever fall into that, or have you always thrown, with red bug? What about with other baits? Does red work year round with other baits?
It does work year round, but there's definitely a time period there in the winter where red is the deal, especially when the water gets a little cloudy. Like a red, crankbait is the go-to. But yeah, there's definitely, I would say, that January to February period, like early pre-spawn, the red is dynamite. So
there you go. All right, so I think we've caught up right now on the questions for right now. Clint, what you thinking about over there?
Hang on, I had a couple ready to rock and roll for a boy here. Did you ever have a tournament that you can think of where you trusted your electronics and it didn't work out? Like where you've like found something that you're like, okay, this is like gonna work, it's gonna work, and then you get to weigh in and it didn't work. Can you think of anything like that?
Okeechobee. I committed to the rim canal stuff, and I was around giants the whole tournament and could not get them to bite. So that's just a prime example. Just because you can see them on there, that doesn't mean they're going to bite. So
no, that makes sense. What about you, Alex? You got something for the man?
What kind of electronics do you run?
Last year I was all Humminbird, and then I ran the Garmin for forward facing.
Any changes for this year, or is that?
This year I'm all over the board. I'm running all kinds of different stuff. So,
all right. So, is that something you can talk about, or?
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
yeah. So what? I never
He
know.
was, he was being a little sneaky about
He
it.
was,
He's like,
yeah.
I'm all over the place this year. Next question.
And it's like, I don't want to get nobody in trouble with a sponsor
Yeah.
or anything like that. So I just had to throw that out there. All right, what you doing this year with the electronics?
Yeah, so in the back, I'm running Garmin and Lowrance, and in the front, I'm running a Lowrance, and depending on scope or non-scope, it'll be a Humminbird for 360 or an MBT for live scope.
Okay, there you go. How often do you fish a jerk bait, and what is your best jerk bait fishing tip?
I fish a jerk bait all the time, and for me, jerk bait is just figuring out the cadence. It's just like anything else, you got to figure out, what mood the fish are in. Sometimes it's as fast as you can work it. Sometimes it's, you jerk it and you wait 20 seconds before you jerk it again. So you just got to kind of feel them out in that sense.
God, that sucks. I hate that when you have to do that with a jerk bait.
You ever put spin strips on jerk bait?
All the time, yeah. Seems like more often than not, I'm using suspend strips.
Okay, makes sense. Braid or fluoro for jigs?
Typically, almost always fluoro.
Is there ever an instance where you would use braid?
If I'm flipping like milfoil, for example, I'll use braid to a fluoro leader. I guess if I'm flipping a jig in grass, I'll use braid a lot. But if I'm around any wood or anything, it's always fluoro.
Okay. I guess Clint had to go to the bathroom the way he jumped up and took off right there. I want to ask you this because I was thinking about this. You mentioned kind of when you won the Classic, kind of told you that you belonged on the elites and everything. Was there when your first tournament or your first meeting or whatever, and you're sitting around with all these guys you've watched, growing up fishing and all that, was there, just kind of like that wow moment when you saw Angler X or that guy right there, or I can't believe I'm fishing against this guy? I mean, did you have those thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, both at the registration meetings and, like I said, day one of the tournament at the docks waiting for blast off. I had basically with everyone in the field, I had a wow moment just looking at them. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this: how does it make you feel now that the next crop of rookies or something, when they come by and they see you, they're going to have the very same thought? They're going to say that's a Bassmaster Classic champ right there. Has that crossed your mind?
It hasn't till now, but yeah, I guess that's pretty cool to think about. Yeah,
it is. You are the guy.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
I think it's awesome. Let's see. What are you smiling at over there, Alex?
Just that I couldn't imagine how that feels, right?
I don't think he's even thought about that till we just threw that question out there. He's like, I'm just Easton. But you are, think about this. We're talking about the guys who we had Fisher and I on last Thursday night. He does okay in this next EQ. He's gonna be up there with you guys next year. And you're gonna have that registration. Have you ever met him?
I haven't, no.
Okay, so you're gonna be at that registration or whatever, that first one, and he's gonna be like, damn, there goes Fothergill. That's like, I'm telling him what, Fisher and I, these young guys would think, Clint, coming up. I asked him what he thought, his first tournament. And then I asked him, has he thought about now he's the guy? The guys are going to be like, look, right, they'll be talking, in the background. Like, that's Fothergill right there. Check him out.
And I was telling somebody at the Redfish Cup this past weekend, I was like, I don't think you realize like how many young anglers are already looking up to you as major inspiration. I mean, think about not just the college bracket, making it through the opens, qualifying, but like you have laid a foundation very similar to what the greats we look at now, looking at from Rick Clunn to Brandon Polinick's generation, like these different generations, they've laid down a path of how they got to where they're at, right? You have laid your path in this college framework of like, this is the perfect scenario if you're a high school to college to opens to winning a classic. Like, this is the perfect framework of a dream scenario. And like that inspiration, if it takes the kid all 4 years of college to do well in a tournament and cut a check in a college tournament or whatever, he can still look at your framework and be like, it's still possible. If he can do it, I can eventually get there. Maybe it's not as perfect as his, like the way his career has gone, but like you have laid that inspiration down for them. And now that you have your first year of the elites, it's like, hey, you like gave the perfect comeback story of, hey, I'm not perfect. It's not okay. Florida sucks. And then you go from that to winning the Classic to also the Classic wasn't just a fluke. You top 10 events after that. You were back. You got your mojo back. You're rocking and rolling. Like you have been able to demonstrate and be an example for a lot of young guys and old guys. Like that's the one thing is like we always think that it's a younger guy looking up to an older guy.
Mm-hmm.
You're 5 years younger than me, and I look up to you in a different way. You know, like it's cool to be able to be an inspiration no matter what the age is. Like there's people I look up to that are older than me or younger than me. And that's one thing that's cool about fishing is like, we're all like-minded. We all, for some crazy reason, love to chase these fish all over the place, and we can all learn something from each other too. So pretty cool.
Now, I'm going to assume there's no Brokeback Mountain going on when you say you look up to Easton, right?
No.
Okay. No. I just want to make sure. But I tell you what, though, just to harp on that point a little bit, when I told some people outside of our little group that we got Easton coming on, and they're guys my age, they're like, "You got to be kidding!" And I'm like, "No, he's coming on the show." They're like, "Dude, do you know how big of a catch that is?" And so, see, Easton, I don't think you realize that. That I mean, I hope you should. I hope you should realize that. But I mean, it's out there. They're like, "I can't believe you got him," and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, Clint got him. Clint did his job, right? Did it well." Have you thrown the big swim baits or relied on them when you needed a big bite in a tournament? And I'm gonna just guess, like, because you're talking about out there, you use the Nico. I mean, that's your confidence. Would you use a bigger swim bait, or would you like, no, I can catch them on a Nico?
I mean, there's definitely times where a big swim bait will trigger a big bite, but I've learned that it can never be your go-to pattern, I guess, because it'll burn you more often than not. So, but like he said in his question, it is something to pick up once you have a solid limit in the boat or something. If you're looking to go get a kicker bite, a big swim bait is a great option for that.
Absolutely. I'm going to skip a couple of them just so I can go to Kay's comment, and then I'll come back to you guys. I think it is, see, this is what I'm talking about. I think it is so cool that the Bassmaster Classic winner is on the Livewell. I'm totally a fan. You had an amazing season, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you. And I think she was with Tony at the Whataburger when they met your family right there. So
that's awesome.
It is. Well, it's awesome for us that people think that, you know, we're able to have Classic winners on the show. I love it. Are you using longer shank hooks for the minnow bait 6 inches and longer? If so, which ones?
Typically not. I only go up to a 3/0 for the most part on my minnows. So typically, if they get the minnow, they're gonna get the whole thing, and with that they'll get the hook, obviously. So I don't feel like you need like a 5/0 hook with a giant minnow. I don't feel that way.
Makes sense. Kevin Thornton wants to know, who was the pro you followed as a young angler?
A. Martin KVD, also a giant pollinet guy. Just a fan of the bass organization as a whole, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough. I remember you saying Martin's earlier like that. Any anglers in the current EQ field you would like to fish against?
I
don't know if that's a loaded question or not.
I mean, I'm friends with Jagfeld, fished against him all college. Matt Messer, too, college guy. Those are the two I would say I know the most. But
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I know a bunch of the names. There's a couple I don't really know yet, but I'm sure I'll be learning of them soon. But those are the two that stand out to me.
Do you know that you want to beat? Like, I want to beat that guy.
Not really. I don't feel an extra motivation against any of them, so to say.
Okay, fair enough. That's what. Listen, he's got to be fair, and he knows. He probably thinks it. He doesn't want to say it. I get it, 100%. Like if I fished against Clint, I'd want to kick his ass every time I went against him, like that. It's personal. Now, so even that we
same boat.
Exactly, probably even more so. I'd be ducking from your daggum rock crawlers.
Oh
that.
God,
that's how
that reputation now.
That's how you would beat me, is you would take me out.
Yeah,
you would injure me so that I couldn't beat you. Now, to be fair, now like I said, Cranking and Yanking he is our resident non-scoper guy. Doesn't like it at all. So to be fair, I'm going to throw this question out there for him to you. Do you think the use of forward-facing sonar has diminished the records and weights from historical tournaments and anglers? And that's in a lot of sports. You could say that in a lot of sports, like, old baseball, home run records. They were like, well, the pitchers pitched all 9 innings, and now you got to do it against, specialists and all that. There's all these kind of generational things. But when it comes to forward-facing sonar, do you think it's diminished it at all, like these super catches?
I don't think so. In my eyes, it's always been use whatever tools are available to catch the biggest bass in the lake. That's what fishing has been since day one. So that's the way I look at it.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Kevin says it's not just respect we as weekend anglers have, but admiration for all they do and go through for a living. And I had a question I was going to ask you about that. What is something that you've learned fishing the elites this year that you know guys don't realize off the water?
How much time you are away from home and how much you miss while you're traveling. It's the biggest thing I've noticed and kind of realized that's the biggest downfall to everything that we do.
How many days on the road do you kind of think you're on during, just say, the season?
I mean, 9 events plus the Classic, that's 10 events. That's 10 weeks right there. And then you sprinkle in a couple other events that'll do here and there, say a couple opens or something. We'll say 14 weeks traveling for tournaments, and then you throw in, ICAST, that's another week, that's 15 weeks. You throw in some other shows. I mean, before you know it, you're at 20 weeks out of how many weeks in a year? Like 50 something.
Yeah.
I mean, you're already at almost half the year you're on the road. So, I mean, it's just crazy how much time you're on the road and away from home and away from everything that you want to do aside from fishing.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is kind of a very simple way to put it. You get homesick?
Not really.
No, you don't. You like to travel?
It's just like the back-to-back events. Like a week I'm fine, but the 2 weeks it's just like, dang, like I want to go home just for a day and then I'll be ready to go again.
Yeah, I get that. I think Drew Cook said something about that too when we had him on. He was just like the amount of travel, and it was towards the end of the season. He's like, I'm just ready to go home.
Well, Drew Cook's even extreme than me, more extreme. He did MPFL and the elites, so he's got, I don't even know how many events under his belt.
Yeah, he's deer hunting right now. I guarantee you that's where he's at because he didn't answer me today. Do you always use a weedless Nico hook?
I almost always do not use a weedless Nico hook. Almost if I'm around grass or obviously open water, I'm not using a weed guard. The only time I'm using a weed guard is if I'm around hard structure, like rock piles, docks, or trees is when I use a weed guard.
Okay. And on that, Kendra said, what is your typical line choice and test for your Nico rig? I know when you were talking about that one event, you went 8-pound braid to like 17-pound fluoro leader, but you said that wasn't typical. What is it? What is typical for you?
8-pound braid to a 12-pound leader is kind of my go-to for a Nico.
Okay. Fair enough. Jeremiah wants to, what jig head minnow combo has the best rolling action in your experience?
A Z2 with a Gami head, not the LG head, the normal Gami head, has super good rolling action. You just got to have slack in your line when you're twitching it. You can't be just moving your rod like this. You got to be working that, like with slack in your line, you get really good rolling action out of a Z2.
Do you loop knot?
I do not loop knot.
What knot do you do?
I think it's just a fisherman's knot. Go through, wrap like 6 times around your main line and back through the bottom loop.
That like a uni? Or not a uni, just a clinch knot? Clinch knot.
Clinch knot. Yeah,
See?
improved clinch probably. That's what it is.
The improved clinch, you wrap 6 times, go through the bottom, then go back through the top. That's the improved.
That's the improved.
That's what I use.
See, now, that's all I ever use. And guys are like, man, you got to be tying the San Diego Jam, the this, the that. I'm like, just that knot has never hardly ever failed me at all.
No, it's a good one.
It is a good one. What's your go-to rod brand?
I only use Lose. I'm sponsored by Lose. That's all I use.
There you go, Tyler. So that makes sense. Stillwater Films. Let's see. We've talked about this a lot. Guys want to know something about these larger minnows tonight. Even if the primary forage is smaller, do you ever still throw it?
There's the off time where a big minnow will be the only thing that triggers those fish, but typically I'm just matching the forage. I'm really keeping an eye on whatever those fish are spitting up when I'm catching them, and that'll allow me to dial it in even more. So
I got you. Derek wants to know, on Nico, do you upsize your weight when using bigger line to offset the drag from the line? You kind of mentioned something about that like a little earlier with the, which type of weight you use, but did we cover that exactly in that question?
It doesn't really matter what size line I'm using. I'm always starting with a 3/32 and going up and down from there.
Okay. San Diego Jam is the jam. Cranking Yankee says it's a good knot for everything except braid, which it is. And Silverpunk says, which loose spinning reel are you using?
It's all the custom light. I use both the 300 size and the shallow spool.
Okay, there you go. Have you ever been on a podcast? It is. Have you ever been on a podcast where we answered so many questions?
I haven't, but this is
good. Listen, that means they want to know some stuff. So we've caught up with them. We've caught up with them so far. Take away the classic. Take away the classic. What has been the best experience that you've had outside of that on the elites?
Just building friendships with the guys I've looked up to since day one. That's been the coolest thing for me. Like, I don't know. I got a bunch of them, their numbers now, and I text them a bunch of them on the daily now. So it's still super cool every time each one of them kind of texts me.
So when you're texting other anglers like that, is it more like, hey man, what's up? What you doing? Congratulations. More kind of like off the water friendship kind of stuff, or do you ever actually talk fishing with the guys?
It's typically just what's up, how's it going? I keep kind of my fishing stuff. I keep my circle small, I guess so to say. So, but it's a lot of just friendship stuff, like how's it going, like what's up, that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, name drop some names of numbers you got in your phone that you didn't have last year.
I mean, let's see, Polinick, Milliken, Carl Jacobson, Bryant Smith. Let's see. I mean, I would say over half the field I have numbers for, so it's pretty crazy.
It is crazy. I think that's pretty cool. Now listen, we've got a special question right here. Jennifer Fothergill. Hey Easton, when are you coming home?
For Christmas, Mom.
Oh, that's your mom?
That's my mom.
Miss Jennifer, you did an absolutely outstanding job with this young man. And listen, I'm so glad I'm on my best behavior tonight. For sure. You know, hey, listen, your mom's watching the Livewell. I love it. That's absolutely great. Now, how about her? You know, I think moms kind of get the shaft sometimes. You know, guys always talk about, well, my dad took me fishing. He was my inspiration. And generally, you know, the moms do a lot of the heavy lifting behind the scenes and everything. Let's throw some love to your mom right here. I mean, tell us a little bit about her.
I mean, she's always been just as big as a supporter as my dad. You know, she'd always take me to the lake before work and pick me up when she's done as I was growing up. So just like my dad, she's always been a supporter since day one. So it's definitely it's a whole family that's into fishing. It's not just my dad.
That's awesome. Miss Jennifer, we appreciate you you creating this fine young man and allowing him to be on our show tonight there. I'll just leave it at that as far as the creating part. Have you ever thought about the color of your hull and how it would appear underwater to a fish? And if a different hull color would make fish less skittish? We've never had that question on here before.
Yeah, I haven't thought of that. In terms of fishing, I do try to keep a darker boat for the most part, just so people can't see me as much, a little bit more undercover. But I haven't even thought of it for like fishing wise.
Okay. All right. You're going to have to name drop again because Kay wants to know, who's your favorite elite fisherman?
Polinick. Current elite fisherman, Polinick.
I heard you answer this question on another podcast, but who do you think is the best? Give me your top 3 anglers across all the trails and everything in the world right now, bass anglers.
I'm going to say I'm putting the Johnstons as one. They're one angler.
Okay.
And then I'll put Wheeler. And then, I mean, I'll probably do Patrick Walters.
There you go. That's a solid list. What do you think about that, Clint and Alex? That list right there.
Yeah, it's a solid list.
Yeah, we just gotta get Patrick to start wearing some pants, though.
No, we don't.
Yeah,
they need to get shorter.
They need to get shorter. His shorts. I don't know that they could get any shorter.
Oh, they can.
Oh yeah, well, I don't want to see it. Kent says, I can tell by the way he talks, he's going to be hard to beat on Fort Loudon in the Classic. Well, it goes back to the confidence thing you were talking about. You know your strengths. You know what you want to do. You've been there before. You know you belong now. You've held that trophy before. Does that give you a little more confidence going into this next one? Like, hey, I am the defending champ, and not in a cocky way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the Classic is an event where, just being there, having an experience helps you a lot. Like, I know for a fact if Roberts was my first Classic, I wouldn't have won it just because I knew kind of what was coming and just how to approach the whole week. And yeah, I mean, just every Classic you get under your belt, I think it gets a little bit more easier on time management and that sort of thing.
Yeah. What changed in this Classic versus your first one? Like that approach, like you said, you knew how to handle it. I mean, it's a marathon, not a sprint for sure. It's a long week. It's a lot of pressure, weird scheduling, all kinds of stuff. Like what did you change from the first one to this one?
Like I said, time management. You're basically the whole week, every single day, you're asked to do something, basically daylight to dark. So anytime you get 5 or 10 minutes, you got to be like rigging rods, prepping your boat, that sort of thing. And also just managing all the media that's around you all the time. And it's more mentally preparing yourself for all that more than managing it. But you just got to be in the right headspace all week long in order to be able to perform on the water.
Yes, absolutely. I get that. Have you signed some autographs yet?
After the Classic, I have. Before the Classic, I'd signed probably 2 of them, but since the Classic.
Let me ask you something. Signing your first autograph, did it feel a little weird to you?
It still feels weird to this day, yeah.
Have you got your signature down though?
I'd say it's decent. It's definitely not the.
He did good when he came to Yamaha. He was one after the other. Just
he was signing them papers, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. White Owl wants to know, what's your favorite boat snacks, and do you have any favorite energy drink?
Boat snacks, it's usually granola bars, peanut butter sandwiches, pretty basic boat snacks for me. Energy drink, I'm on Bloom energy drinks right now. It's kind of a off the wall one, but that's the one I'm on right now.
Do you go through, like, I know Clint's big into fitness, and as you can see, I am not. I'm trying to be. Alex he's kind of fit guy, but going up, do you hydrate the entire week? Do you go through any of these processes when it comes to that, like physically getting ready, or you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna wake up, eat a biscuit, and go fishing?
I mean, I definitely make it a point to drink water and stuff. I'm really bad about it during actual tournament days, but during practice, I am drinking lots of water and stuff, and make sure I stay hydrated.
Man, but water just doesn't taste good. You know what I'm saying?
You do?
I can't do it myself. I got to have Pepsi Zero, which is not good, and Clint doesn't like it. Clint's trying to get me healthy, and Alex has got a Coke right there for sure. He's trying. Jerry says, Easton, you come across as a very genuine, and obviously you're very knowledgeable. I'm sure you will do well going forward. Thank you for all the tips. So that, that's pretty good. And that's one thing I want to say too before we get into that end of the show. I appreciate the fact, I love having you guys on to help out our viewers with the questions and stuff like that. I know a lot of people want to talk about the pro aspect of your life and all that, and I think it's amazing. But at the end of the day, being willing to come on and answering 522 questions is, to me, what sets you guys apart. What are you laughing at, Clint?
It's true. We have gotten a lot of feedback in the comments tonight. So
yeah,
he's been rapping. He's been keeping up. So
you know what I've learned though? Just figure out what the fish are doing. You've said that so many times tonight. Like, there's not really one straight answer, right? You got to go figure it out, kind of work on a few things, and be versatile and willing to change.
Yeah, the biggest thing that stuck with me growing up is I was at the 16 AOI championship. G-Man won AOI. It was at Mille Lacs, right near my house, and he said the fish will talk to you. You just got to be willing to listen to them. And that's the biggest thing that stuck with me growing up.
It makes sense. That's probably. I'll say that again one more time.
The fish will talk to you. You just got to be willing to listen to them.
See, that's like, it sounds simple, but that's actually some heavy thinking.
It's not always simple, yeah.
Right. That's some heavy thinking right there. And I think a lot of us don't do that. Kendra, this podcast is awesome. Lots of amazing information. Thank you so much. I have been taking lots of notes. And listen, that's what I'm saying, kid. Like, totally cool. Like, you're the defending Bassmaster Classic champ, but you're taking some time to talk to the average Joes like us. And I don't know if you realize how much they appreciate that. Even with questions like boat snacks and stuff like that. People want to know. They want to know, what does Easton do? But I think we've caught up on that. And with that, I think now is a good time, Clint and Alex, like, let's kind of wrap up our thoughts on all this. I'll give you, Alex, the first thing. I mean, what do you think about this? What do you think, this young man and what he's accomplished?
I think it's pretty cool, man, to overcome what he did and win the classic. I mean, that's like Clint said earlier. There's not a whole lot of names on that trophy, so it's something to be proud of.
Absolutely. All right, Clint, because he's your buddy.
Well,
blow some smoke up his butt.
I already did that earlier. I got a request from Paul Bork. He said,
Paul,
if you Super Six the Classic, you have to promise us that you will wear some khaki shorts for the Super Six on Championship Sunday.
I do have some Sims khaki shorts that are a little bit too small for me, so I have the correct apparel to make that happen.
Make sure those are in your bag for Knoxville.
Got to go tight. You got to go tight, and you got to go
we need to see some leg. We haven't seen any leg.
I haven't shown leg in like 4 years of fishing.
Yeah, I know. I'm concerned we might go blind.
Oh, yeah. They might be white.
Oh, they're white. Yeah.
Oh, they're white. But, I mean, listen, you could be like Walters. Like, I think I've seen Walters wear pants just like a couple of times when it was like super freaking cold. So he's like the absolute opposite and all that. Are you like Emil Wagner and you wear like flip-flops everywhere you go?
No, when I quit wearing shorts, I also quit wearing flip-flops. I'm all tennis shoes now.
There you go. My daughter told me the next time I wear flip-flops with shorts, she was going to kick me out of the house. She said, that is just not – that's a fashion faux pas, or whatever they call it. Crankin' and Yankin says, won the Classic before he bought his first razor. He's young. We haven't even addressed that. How old are you?
23.
23. I know it wasn't that long ago for you, Clint, but what were you doing at 23? Probably the same thing you're doing now.
23. Yeah, I was running around with a camera for Black Rifle on the Elites, or just making coffee and taking photos and trying to learn how to catch a bass.
So, Alex, what about you at 23? What were you doing at 23?
I was a technician at a BMW dealership and a very heavy drinker.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like it was beer league softball, boys, for me at 23. 5 nights a week. So Paul says market, boys, because now we do have video evidence of this agreement that he has made. So you got to
get them pearly whites out.
Get them pearly whites out is what he's talking about for sure. All right, listen, Easton, listen. You are a very impressive young man, and like your success is well deserved. It's well deserved, and I actually think just your story is amazing. And one day when it's all said and done, you're going to look back. And I don't even think you realize the story that you're writing right now. I think you're going to look back and you're going to just be like, damn, yeah, I did that. I mean, seriously, to overcome what you overcame and to, just do these steps of success and all that. Like Clint said, I mean, I'm 53. I think my youngest son is your age. And I got 2 older daughters and all that, but I can honestly say, you know what you're doing is impressive. And it is very cool to look up to you as, the champ, you know what I'm saying? And so your answers are absolutely, it is, great answers tonight. I appreciate you taking the time to come on here. I hope it was a good experience. I hope we didn't wear you out with all the questions, and I hope you'll come back after you win it again. And, and we see your legs so we can talk about your legs next time. And, I mean, do we need, what we need to do, Clint? We need to get we don't need to do it in front of Easton because he already knows this, but we need to get on the next podcast, we'll pull up 4 or 5 different shades of white and have everybody vote on which shade of white they think Easton's legs actually will resemble.
It's the most blinding one.
Is it?
On the list would be the one.
Jerry says real quick, he says he needs to let his sponsors know that he mentions and bait color and all that, and it's sold out on Tackle Warehouse in minutes like that. Hey, listen, he's already at that point where he speaks. It's the way it is. But seriously, Easton, pleasure meeting you tonight. Like I said, I've been watching you from afar and all that, and I just think it's fantastic. You took some time to come hang out with us tonight, and I hope you'll come back again. But most of all, I hope you'll just go forward and continue. Because, your success, every time somebody comes on here, it's kind of like we gain, somebody else that we're fans of. we're already fans, but now that we know you, it's just different. You know, I say it's like, you know, so go kick some ass. I hope you win it again, dude, and absolutely dominate. Let Emil win one every now and then because we like Emil. But you guys can split it and all that. I mean, fair enough to say there, Clint.
Yeah.
You know, we gotta let Emil win a classic one of these years down the line. But you're all good people. But seriously, you're good people, and I want to thank you for coming on tonight, and I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, guys. This was fun.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad you had fun. All right, so guys, listen. Hey, that's it. You just got to talk to the champ right here. I think you guys, with the amount of questions that you had, I hope you wrote some of the answers down and you learned a lot. Okay, and again, we're all looking forward now to Knoxville to see this young guy's legs. No Brokeback Mountain, but we're gonna see some legs in Knoxville right there. So with that, we're gonna let you we're gonna let you go. You guys have a great rest of your evening. We'll talk about this tomorrow on the lunch break, I'm sure. And but you guys have a great rest of your night, and we appreciate you. We love you. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Do all the cool things that the kids do, and we'll see you on the next one. So we're out of here.